Hey, what up, YouTube? What is up? To my 114 subscribers, 114 subscribers, folks. Make sure you check out my growing and amazing YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe right there. Check it out, YouTube. Give me that like and subscribe. I understand why most people don't subscribe to me because I get it. But hey, hey, if you want to make your algorithm shittier, hey. All right, let's get into the U.S. news here. Wanted to start off with this banger Bernie Sanders quote. Good old Bernie over here, growing slowly but steadily. Yeah, well, I was at 115 a couple weeks ago. Now I'm at 114. So, we're moving on up. But this is great. So Fox News reporter, gives them the classic. Some people are saying, some people are saying this, some people are saying that. And Bernie Sanders with the classic fucking response here. So listen to this. This is great. I think this one's from Woke Patriot, by the way, as well. So thank you, Woke Patriot.
Is it really free if you're raising taxes to pay for it?
Well, given the fact that we have the billionaire class paying a lower tax rate than working families, I think it's appropriate that the wealthiest people in this country stop paying their fair share of taxes. Thanks very much.
The Wall Street tax would hit average Americans saving for retirement.
What people say that? People on Wall Street. Thank you.
Oh, give them a yeah, wow, woo! Oh man, I wish you weren't a coward in 2016 and actually formed your own party. God damn it. One more time. One more time.
Thanks very much.
The Wall Street tax would hit average Americans saving for retirement.
What people say that? People on Wall Street. Thank you.
Is it really?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, More Perfect Union, they're doing some good work. So big props to More Perfect Union for that clip. Thank you. Gotta love Bernie. Okay. This is Ukraine related, and I'm not going to dwell on this. We're not even going to see the video. Barack Obama is running around doing what he likes to do, which is he'll hear some criticism about about decisions that he made in his administration, and he'll do a media tour, right, where he's correcting the record, right? And so now he's doing that with Ukraine, right, because of how he treated Ukraine. And I think times were different back then, but Obama, I think it's very fair to say that Obama did not act decisively in 2014, actually forced Ukraine to destroy a bunch of anti-air ammunition, and there's all kinds of massive mistakes that Barack Obama made, knowing what we know now. And instead of coming out and saying, yeah, that was a mistake, and, if I had known what I know now, and if I could go back and remake that decision, I'd do this. He doesn't do any of that. Classic Obama, neoliberal. Oh, I was actually 100% correct. I was actually totally 100% correct, and everything I said, everything I did was justified, and I actually didn't make a single mistake. So, classic. I'm just so sick of Obama. I was sick of him, I was sick of him a decade ago. War criminal, needs to be held accountable for his drone war program. Did not hold the Bush administration accountable for their crimes, and we see the results now with Trump, running ramshot over our democracy. Speaking of Trump, Barack Obama, during his 8 years, the Congress and the Senate, all these Democrats lost all these elections. Barack Obama wasn't doing what he could to help his party. His party was losing left and right, set up the Republicans real nice for Trump. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on about Barack Obama and his conservative, cowardly style of politics and how little the American people benefited from his 8 years in office. I could go on and on. But yeah, here he is, comes, crawls out of his mansion, not crawl, but walks out of his mansion, right? To set the record straight on all the mistakes that he didn't make pertaining to Ukraine. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Right? Anytime there's a corporate Democrat that needs a little boost, Barack Obama makes a little statement from his mansion, right? Oh, yeah, we can't go with no progressive Democrat. We got to go with the bog standard neoliberal Democrat. That's the right choice. That's the only time you hear from Obama outside of rewriting history tours. Special courtesy extended from one president to another. I don't think, yeah, professional courtesy is ridiculous. Criminals need to go to jail, especially presidents, right? If a president can't be held accountable, then he's not a president, he's a king. I don't think a president has any legal liability for prosecuting criminals. You don't think so? Really? So that's you just, if you're Dick Cheney and you're Bush or you're Trump, just commit as many crimes as possible and you're good to go, knowing that the next administration will never hold you accountable? Is that really the precedent we want to set for leadership in America? Just go hog wild, and then because you're the man, well, you can't be held accountable. It's ridiculous for one administration to hold the previous administration accountable for their crimes. That's impossible. We can't do that. Well, then goodbye to the fucking rule of law, right? Why don't we just get a king authoritarian and just dissolve the Constitution then, right? Start a bunch of wars, commit a bunch of crimes, steal a bunch of money. We can't be held accountable. It'd be political. It'd be political if the next administration holds the previous administration accountable. It'd be political. That's the end of democracy. That's the end of America right there. That's the end of America. That's the end of accountability. So there was a massive in Denver, folks. There was a massive hailstorm. Tons of footage, if you want to look it up. Tons of footage of people at some concert venue. It was a classic, right? Just perfect storm. No pun intended. But they were in a venue with like no roof, right? And it starts hailing, and I'm talking golf ball to like apple-sized hail slamming down on people. A bunch of people got injured. I'm not sure if there was any deaths, but there was definitely injuries.
Oh my God!
Ow, it hurts.
Oh my God!
So these people, it's a totally open venue, and these people were desperate to try to find any shelter, and they're like all pushed up against each other because there's just no shelter. So look at that. Look at all the hail on the ground.
It was pretty big, and it hit pretty hard. It was like somebody chucked it at your head.
And this, the thing, it's so great for climate change skeptics, right? Because it's impossible to say any one weather event is directly related to climate change. But in reality, all weather events are affected by climate change, because what we see is existing weather patterns catalyzed by climate change, made worse. So maybe if climate change wasn't as bad, this would have just been a mild hailstorm. But that's what we're seeing. We're seeing normal weather patterns blown up and catalyzed by climate change, and it can affect, you get more snow in some areas, you get no snow in some areas. It's what were once anomalies are turning into normal massive occurrences and when they do happen, they're incredibly violent. I swear to God, I heard some thunder here for the first time in Vancouver. I heard thunder, and it was the most creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life. It sounded like a gas tanker exploding. Boom, 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 just boom, dude, massive, multiple, right? I ran to the window and opened it up like, whoa, where's the explosion coming from? Does it once, 30 seconds later starts raining, right? And then that's it. No more thunder. One explosion and then rain. I've never heard anything before in my life. And I was raised in Michigan, where thunderstorms are very normal. I know what thunder sounds like. This was unlike any thunder I've ever heard before. It was like two trains smashing into each other, and then silence, and then a little bit of rain. It was so creepy. And yes, it is climate change. It's climate change. Right? Hey, you know what? It's a really good... If you're single, now's the time to be mingling, right? This is perfect, right? If you're single, hey, try to play the white knight maybe a little bit, Get some numbers. This is your time. This is your time to shine there, single guys. Panda Man over here defending the Bush administration for their crimes against humanity. Pack it up, Panda Man. Your conservative gaslighting has no fucking play here, dude. Bush and Cheney committed some of the most heinous crimes to the people of Iraq and Afghanistan and lied to the American public to put American lives in danger. And you're over here. He had no choice. He had no congressional mandate. He had a mandate from the people to go kill brown people. So why didn't he invade Saudi Arabia then, Panda Man? Huh? Why didn't he go after the people that actually did 9/11, supposedly, if the official story is to be believed? Why do we go? They had nothing. Colin Powell was 100% wrong about anthrax. There was no fucking justification for any of that. And the international community admits that, by the way. And the international community fucking admits that there was no justification, that, that Colin Powell lied to everybody, lied to the world. That's Colin Powell's reputation. Oh, in America, oh, hero, Colin Powell, hero, oh, war hero. No, the rest of the world thinks Colin Powell's a fucking liar, right? For dragging a good chunk of Europe into a war that was pointless, right? Tony Blair looking like a real fucking fool, right? Panda Man over here. Oh, he had no choice. Oh, okay, yeah. My ass, he had no choice. I lived that shit. He had a choice. And there wasn't no public mandate. If I recall correctly, the largest protests since the Vietnam War occurred when the Iraq War was starting. Panda Man, I don't agree with your narrative that Bush had no choice but to invade two countries because of a congressional mandate. It's absolutely bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. He didn't have to do that. He couldn't ignore the mandate from Congress. They had to go kill people. No. Well, we can't hold Bush accountable for the crimes that he committed. We can't hold Cheney accountable for the crimes they committed. Let me ask everyone else in the chat. Are we sick of individuals like Panda Man coming in here trying to play both sides, trying to defend George W. Bush and fucking Dick Cheney? Are we supposed to accept characters like this in our life that are trying to both sides this? I understand being factual. No, I understand being factual. Okay. And maybe that's what Panda Man is trying to say, is, maybe he doesn't agree with George Bush. Right, but he's like, well, George Bush didn't really have a choice. He had a congressional mandate and a declaration of war and all this. Okay, fair enough. I think it's fair to say the derailing is what gets me. I think it is fair to say, though, that, okay, sure. He had a mandate, right? Go in, kill Saddam Hussein, right? But then why not leave then? We didn't even leave after we declared mission accomplished, right? We didn't leave Afghanistan. We're still in Iraq. We declared mission accomplished in Iraq. We're still there. So I think it's a little disingenuous to say, okay, I think it's accurate to say that, okay, there was a congressional mandate. He had no choice. He had to do something, right? He had to do something. I think it's fair to criticize, though, and say that there was never any plan to get out, right? It was get in, occupy, and then profit, right? And I think, okay, all right, fine. You want to be official about it. You want to, give Bush the benefit of the doubt. All right. Those are where the crimes were committed, is when there was just stagnation. 8 years and then into Obama with another 8 years, Obama doing nothing. It took, Joe Biden finally pulling out of Afghanistan. We're still in Iraq, still pumping billions of dollars into Iraq. That's where the accountability can start. If I want to be fair to Panda Man's argument, that's where the accountability should start then. Fine. Right? Why didn't we get out? Why didn't we go after Saudi Arabia? But why didn't we get out? And I don't mean to shit on Panda Man. I'm just so sick and tired of the contrarians. Right, because there are things that are right and wrong exists. Right and wrong exists, and sometimes I feel like conservatives like Panda Man, want us to forget what right and wrong actually is, right? Oh, well, technically, like in the case, Kyle Rittenhouse is a great example, right? Well, technically, Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent. Yeah, well, technically, he's a fucking murderer. He got a plastic bag and he got the N-word thrown at him. He massacres one guy, shoots another guy with a skateboard. Oh, justified, 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 justified. Okay. Maybe technically, but we're not, you know, let's just ignore the entire conversation though, right? About how a child was walking around with a deadly weapon, murdering people. I'm just tired of it. I'm sorry, Panda Man. I'm sorry. I don't mean to single you out, man. All right, back to the story here. So Stephen Dogsinger has been covering the Cop City protests pretty closely, and I wanted to do a little Cop City update. So the historic Cop City protest movement today forced the city of Atlanta to follow a citizens' vote on the construction of the police complex to go forward. This is great news. This is people power. This is activism power. This is activism power. Need 75,000 signatures to get on the ballot in November. The vote will happen. Cop City will not. So this is great. So what am I talking about? What is Cop City? So Cop City is this massive, sprawling, like military base style training facility that, you know, they were going to dump millions and millions and millions of dollars. He was recently released, Panda Man. Thank you for the follow, Rebel Phoenix, and I don't want to kink shame. So they want to dump all this money into, you know, this cop training program that basically teaches them to be warrior cops, while there's all these other issues that, you know, these resources could be better spent other places, right? We're not going to retrain cops. We're not going to try to reform cops. We're going to buy them a big theme park, basically. And people are not having it. There's a big protest movement. They got organized. They're getting it done. This is the only way to get it done, because the city didn't even want to vote on it. They just wanted to do their own, like, you know, expenditure approval, and yep, they're good to go. We don't have any choice on it. So what these activists have done, what these brave, organized leftist activists have done to create a better society, they didn't just hang out on social media. They disrupted. They disrupted. They got in there, made themselves a nuisance, and now the appropriations for the funding for Cop City, which Cop City is actually already happening. Like, it's already being built. There's already money that's been spent on this. But now that question is going to be taken to the people. Do we want to spend X amount of millions of dollars to fund, Cop Wonderland? Right? Do we want to do that? They wanted to do all this under the table and just approve it. Yep. We don't even want to have a debate on it. And leftist activists, illegally, mind you, none of what they did was legal, right? They stopped the construction in the forest. They illegally got in front of the construction equipment. Stop that. What they're doing right here is probably illegal. You need to stand up for what you mean. First of all, you need to figure out what you stand for, and then you got to stand up for it. Okay? And look how it doesn't take a lot, does it? We don't need 95% of America, right? We just need we need a plurality. We just need a democratic, right? We just need a chunk of that democracy to make major progress. Major progress. I'm telling you, it is frighteningly within our grasp. If you think about the amount of Americans that are friendly to the progressive left, but have just completely checked out of politics, right? They're like, yeah, I think single-payer healthcare is great. I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't see a problem with half the shit's going on, right? They just go both sides, right? Oh, well, both sides are bad. I check out. I don't even pay attention. I just switch off the TV when I see politics. Those people are fertile ground for the progressive left to make a real movement. And we saw a little flirtation with it with the Bernie campaign, right? Did anyone else feel it? All of a sudden, people who were not paying attention, waking up, getting involved, and donating their $10 or $20 to the Bernie campaign? Did anyone else feel that? That was less than 20% of America. That was, you know what I mean? That wasn't even, that was a small fraction of a small fraction. And look what was capable. Bernie was out fundraising Hillary certain months, making more money than Hillary with all of her political connections off $5 and $10, $20 donations. Okay? I'm just saying, the theme of the News Underground is political activism creates change, right? It works. It's the only thing that works is nonviolent direct political action, especially in a democracy, but even outside of a democracy. It's the only thing that works, and it's the only thing, everyone's not talking about it, man. It's like when you talk about weight loss, the only thing that works is eating right and exercising. That's the best way to lose weight. All the other fucking gizmos and pills and all that shit is crap. It's the only thing that works, but it's the only thing that no one wants to talk about, right? Oh, I don't know. I want to just buy a machine, hook my ass up to a machine and fucking sit on the couch. So I don't know if you're aware of Greg Abbott. He is the governor of Texas, I think. Well, he's a fascist monster, an absolute disgusting monster who oh no! Oh no! I got my injection of garbage fuel. Garbage Fuel is, of course, the #1 drink mix company in the world. My wife must have just gone out to the dumpster for me to get me some delicious, delicious garbage fuel. This is, of course, the #1 drink mix company in the world and the #1 sponsor of my stream. It's extra green today. It's extra green and extra lumpy. So I'm very excited what we're gonna have today. You never know what flavor you're gonna get with garbage fuel, so you never know. I'm very excited here. So let's give it our first sip here. Oh, is that moving? Is that a hair? We got a hair in here. Oh, let's get in there. So it's delicious. I love it. I drink it every day. Leaded or unleaded, you got to do a test on it. You got to do a test on it to find out. So I love this stuff. And thank you so much to Garbage Fuel for sponsoring today's stream, every stream. And of course, thank you, Garbage Fuel, for sponsoring the mass shooting update as well coming up. Garbage Fuel wants to make sure America knows that mass shootings are the new normal. Oh, well, that burns a little bit. That's actually burning my lips. And we got any milk? I need to drink some milk. Oh. Oh, so thank you so much, Garbage Fuel, #1 drink mix company in the world. Yeah, no, the mass shootings are the new normal. Yeah, just Garbage Fuel would like to remind you that, going to the grocery store is a life-threatening kind of thing now, right? That's just the new normal that we got to deal with. So I don't know if you're aware, but Greg Abbott is a monster, and he recently signed a bill that repealed water breaks for local workers. So Texas is currently experiencing a brutal heat wave. It has nothing to do with climate change. Don't worry. Chris Christie on ABC told me it had nothing to do with climate change, so don't worry. Chris Christie knows what he's talking about. But absolutely brutal heat wave happening in Texas. And what does Greg Abbott do but sign a bill that says, hey, construction companies, you're no longer mandated to give your workers water breaks. You can work them until they die. And what happens about 6 days after Greg Abbott signs that bill? A worker dies from heat stroke.
Most of us are victims of delusion
right?
at one time or another.
I realize that. That's why.
Less than a week after Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a bill that will repeal measures in Austin and Dallas to protect workers against heat-related illness, a worker has died in Texas from heat stroke. Utility lineman dies after helping restore power to Texas residents following storms. Officials say a utility lineman from West Virginia working to restore power in Texas has died. KLTV reports that the 35-year-old lineman, whose name was not immediately released, was working with Appalachian Power to restore electricity to the Marshall area. Wow, thank you for that follow, Ivanko. According to Harrison County Justice, the peace Justice of the Peace John Oswald, the worker's death has been attributed to heat-related causes. Oswald said the man had been working with his crew in the heat on Monday and told the group that he wasn't feeling well once they returned to their motel. You gotta drink. If you're in a high heat environment, you gotta keep that intake, right? You gotta keep it going. You gotta keep it going. And like, this is what it feels like. Like, it feels 100 degrees. 100 degrees right now in Texas. Shortly after posting this, I ran across this. Another heat-related death in Texas. Postal worker collapses, dies while working during excessive heat warning. So Greg Abbott sees a heat wave. He's like, people are going to die. We better make sure that corporations aren't held liable for that. I mean, he really is one of the most monstrous, evil politicians I've ever seen. I mean, Uvalde happens, Uvalde, folks. Do you remember Uvalde? Does anyone remember that one? That little mass shooting at the school? Remember the video? The sounds of screaming children has been muted. So Uvalde happens, and he's coming out making excuses for the cops and making, you can't, how dare you, pretending to be insulted. How dare you talk about politics right now at this moment? It's a tragedy. I think, did Greg Abbott do some kind of gun rally like the day after Uvalde or something, right? Did some kind of gun PR thing just a couple days after Uvalde. An absolute monster. And that's what Texans, I guess that's what Texan people want to represent them. They want cruel, uncaring, monsters. I don't know. I find it shocking that a man could be this callous, even a conservative, this callous against his own people. Yeah, thank you, Rebel Phoenix. Yeah, there was an NRA show and he didn't, was there pressure to cancel it or something like that? Did he go? Did he do it? No, he did a video. He did a video at that NRA show. That's what it was. He didn't show up in person, but he did like a live stream thing where he did I'm protecting your Second Amendment rights. Fuck them kids. Thank you for the follow, Hermes the God. So just a real quick, I only have one today, but we got to get our FASH update. We got to get our insurrection update, right? We got to see what the American fascists are talking about today. And we get some classic anti-Semitism, some real motherfucking right out of the 1950s anti-Semitism, man. This is really peak shit. So the Mothers for Liberty, which is a fascistic right-wing group that has been going around the country harassing school board meetings. They recently put out one of the chapters in like Denver or something, one of the chapters in one of the states across the nation here. They put out their first newsletter, right? Their inaugural newsletter. Hey, we're the Mothers for Liberty. Just so happens that there was a quote from Hitler in there. Ooh, Indiana, thank you. Yeah, gosh, there was, a quote from Hitler in there. Ooh. So they decided, hey, we're not anti-Semitic. We don't hate Jewish people. We're not aligned with Nazis. We don't think Hitler's cool. So the Indiana Moms for Liberty chapter starts coughing together to interrupt a moment of silence for Holocaust victims. Do you think if I walked up to any of these people and I asked them, are you anti-Semitic? Do you agree with fascist Germany? Do you agree with, oh, no. No. I'm not a fascist. So in a moment of silence for Holocaust victims, easily one of the easiest things you could, the least controversial thing you can agree with, right? Oh, I got a problem with this. This is woke propaganda or whatever their fucking excuse is. So here's the Mothers for Liberty.
Moment of silence in response to Moms for Liberty, who I think a few of you guys have already left. so it must not be that important to be here, who quoted Adolf Hitler yesterday in their newsletter, stating that he who controls the youth controls the world.
Disgusting.
Moment of silence to think about what that means today.
Oh, that's so pathetic.
I mean, they're really, really sad. We're just, it's one of the,
Are you through with your?
No, I'm not through. Is my time up?
Nope. I can't see the clock.
I can't either. You tell me when my time's up.
okay. These people are irredeemable. Like, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and agree with Hillary Clinton, but deplorable, you know, that's just the word that comes to mind. It's disgusting. I mean, we can't. You're not gonna say sorry for quoting Hitler. You're not gonna do a my bad for quoting Hitler, really. And I'm supposed to believe this argument that they're not fascistic. Oh, how it's so hyperbolic for me to call them fascist and oh, how, you know, there's no similarities between them and any of that. One of the I was watching news all day today, and I can't remember who said this, but he was brilliant. He was quoting another philosopher or somebody, right? And this person said, you know, parallel lines, you know, they run parallel, but they never meet, right? So and that's what we're seeing here with fascism in the United States, right? They're not putting on the swastika, they're not Sieg Heiling, right? They're putting on a red hat, right? And they're not, you know, there's similarities, right? But there's clear differences here. And it can be fascism without it being Nazi Germany. I'm just wondering, you know, when we're going to stop putting up with this, the left, right? When we're going to start passing laws and regulations and other things that say you're not allowed to be a fucking outward fascist attacking democracy and receive zero, it's free speech. Okay, yeah, okay. You know, there has to be limits to this. There has to be limits to this. Moving on to America's favorite #1 segment of the News Underground. It's the mass shooting update. Here we go. How many people died in America today? Let's find out. Mass shooting update is, of course, brought to you by Garbage Fuel, #1 drink mix company in the world. Garbage Fuel would like to remind you that this is the new normal. 377 U.S. mass shootings in 2023. A total of 5,512 mass shootings since 2013. And 3 whole days since the last mass shooting. Hey, good guys with the guns. Thank you so much, good guys with guns. 3 whole days of peace? Boy, they're spoiling us. They're spoiling us. So over there in St. Paul, Minnesota, 0 dead and 4 injured. Gunman unidentified, arrested and wounded. But he's unidentified. Over there in Fort Worth, Texas, where it's 100 million degrees, 1 dead, 3 injured, gunman unknown. It's good to note that less than 50% of the murders in America are solved. So you have a great chance of committing murder and getting away with it. Over there in Barnesville, Georgia, 2 dead and 2 injured, possible domestic murder-suicide. We literally see one of these almost every mass shooting update. Gunman Eric Spradley, 33. Well, let's hope Eric Spradley bought that gun legally. I'd hate to hear that he got it illegally. Over there in Pontiac, Michigan, beautiful place, by the way. I went to a couple car shows in Pontiac, Michigan. 1 dead and 3 injured, gunman unknown. Well, keep running, buddy. Chicago, Illinois, 1 dead and 3 injured. Juvenile victim, 16-year-old boy among the wounded. Gunman unknown. I'm sure that 16-year-old had it coming to him. I'm sure of it. Probably ran his mouth off and stuff. Thank you so much, Garbage Fuel, for sponsoring today's mass shooting update. Garbage Fuel is, of course, the #1 drink mix company in the world, and like to remind you that this is the new normal. Thank you so much, Garbage Fuel. Sponsoring today's mass shooting update. All right, folks, there you go. That's my U.S. news. Hopefully you come out of this a better, more informed person. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. Thank you so much.